Welcome back to Making the Brand. Today we have a special guest, a friend of many years, and a trailblazer in the CNC and the machining world. And we're happy to have Debbie Sommers, president of Lakeview Precision. Debbie, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate you having me.
I know, despite all the traffic on the Kennedy,
Yeah,
you still
okay.
made it down. Yeah. How are things going at Lakeview?
Challenging, but that's okay. That means we're still here, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, wouldn't you say that's every day or
You bet.
every season?
You bet.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
But just different challenges. What do you feel like is like a current challenge that you're dealing with now?
The big word, tariffs, the big
Okay.
T.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we're dealing with. And uncertainty in the economy as well, and raising the next generation around the company. So it's all of it. But right now, the tariffs is the big talk.
How are you guys navigating that?
We're trying to figure that out, working with our vendors, then going to communicate to our customers. I mean, everybody's aware of it, right? We're all aware of what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, but it's the unknown of how it's going to come out and how it's going to absolutely unfold. So can I tell you a little story?
Yeah, please do.
We're into less sugar now. We do a lot less sugar. We found this brand that has so much less sugar, and my daughter's like, you got to order more, you got to order more. And I have not been able to place an order. You know why? They're in Canada and they won't ship to us anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Wow.
Yeah.
So. I've seen like the videos of like American whiskey and stuff being taken off, but not like the healthy stuff.
Ketchup, for crying out loud. It's ketchup.
Oh, wow.
We won't ship to you. You're in the United States.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not a matter of, I mean, who knows what'll happen. Like, there's no certainty, and so we're all dealing with like just some level of uncertainty and
for sure
in business. But
yeah, for sure, we're trying to navigate, making sure our accounting team is ready, that when it does hit, making sure our customers are aware. What do they expect? What are our vendors going to do? They don't even know. It's right around the corner, and they're uncertain too. So continually communicating with them.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah, got it. So our relationship goes back several years. We're in a nonprofit together that we're both members of, a Christian Business Fellowship, and it was just great to get to know you and your story and the Lakeview story. And I think it's really inspiring. Just bigger than just being like, oh, I'm a woman in manufacturing or in industrials. Just your overall story is just amazing. Like how you went from each seat on the bus and then ultimately to the seat that you're in now. But I would love to hear like the origin story of Lakeview and your whole journey as an entrepreneur.
Okay. So fresh out of high school, I was looking for a job and had a few other jobs, but graduated high school early because I wanted to start making a consistent paycheck. And I just happened to answer it ad in the paper at the then Lakeview Screw Machine Products and started in Lakeview, yes, originated in Lakeview. What do you call it? Lakeview neighborhood. The Lakeview neighborhood. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's where it originated. That's where it's got its name from. Yep. And they transitioned out to Elgin, where they were over by ECC, and that's where I eventually went and applied for a job and was hired as receptionist. And from there, just really gained to love the business and what they did and that they produced, and wanted to know more about it, and worked for the owners of the company, the Lemkes, and worked my way up to general manager and then eventually buying the company. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like just so many different steps and things that you navigated in between, but like, I mean, how amazing of a story. I mean, who can say they went from the receptionist to the general manager to buying the entire company? I mean, that's an amazing story.
It was intriguing. And I've been very fortunate and very blessed to be able to do that, for sure.
Yeah. But earlier, before we started recording, we were talking about like just some of the challenges of like being too in the weeds. And do you feel like you being in each seat obviously gives you a level of granularity and vision into the business and how it operates and what everybody does, but do you feel like is it also a pain point where you're too in the weeds at times?
Yeah. It's a magnet. It sucks me back in. Yeah. And then you realize all of a sudden, wait a minute, these people are waiting for me to make a decision. I am the person who can help to get this going, and I am the one that can make the final decision. So get out of those weeds. But absolutely. Yeah. And you would think after what I bought it in 2007, it's been almost, it's been 18 years. Why am I not there yet? But that's okay, because it allows me to be real with the people and say, been there, done that. Let me put my owner hat back on and let me help you get out of there. So for sure. So
I do want to like understand more there, because I remember a conversation we had so many years ago, and you were presenting to the group and you were like, oh, we did X million dollars in business, and everybody was excited. And you felt like it was like, okay, yeah, whatever, it's small. And then a few years later, you were like, yeah, we just did X million dollars in business, and it was double what you had done the previous time we had that conversation. But still, your mindset, I felt, was like, yeah, but it's still, we're not where we're supposed to be. And I feel that too. Like, I'm, look at just what I want to accomplish and the vision and, how we're going. But do you feel like that is something that you just kind of wear on your shoulder of like, we just need to be bigger and faster and better? Or do you ever pause and say like, man, this has been an incredible journey. I've built something, a multi-million-dollar organization?
So both. I mean, you stop and pause and are very, very thankful for where you are and how you've gotten there. But if you ever lose sight of a vision, that's when you're going to stop growing and not be there, in my opinion. The owners that I worked for previously, they were at an age that they didn't want to invest in modern technology.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and that's why I wanted to purchase a business, because I knew the potential was there. So I do not think we've arrived. I don't think we ever will arrive, and I hope to continue to grow that as we continue to bring in new customers and have new offerings and to support more families. You know, we've got more people. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The vision keeps recreating itself, and we are further than we were yesterday,
For sure.
but even further ahead tomorrow. So we look forward to that.
Yeah. I think that sums up entrepreneurship, is like, it's constant. Like, you've never arrived. You're always like trying to climb that next mountain. But what is the vision for Lakeview?
So our vision is growth. I read a recent book where my vision got much bigger, 10x.
Oh, I just read that this year, and it's completely changed.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that's the most like impactful read I've had in probably a year, and I just read it like earlier this year.
Did you read the other ones that they suggested?
I'm
No,
gonna read
you
those
have
next.
to. Wow,
Yeah.
you have to.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I would look at, 10% increase, although we were having 40% year over year after year, 40% increases. And then I start, I know we can't bank on that. But then I started saying, okay, if we grow 10%, but I'm not looking at that anymore because that limits us.
Yeah.
So our vision eventually is to, and we've been saying this for a while, but is to have another company as an employee-owned company. That's our vision. And I don't want to lose sight of that. When things get difficult, you do lose sight of that. So I haven't had to come out of the weeds, but that's our vision to have that and have other offerings so that when difficult times come, we have those extra added value services that people look at.
Yeah.
For us, it's not about transactions. It's all about relationships. So we want to grow those relationships, and the way that we do is to let our customers know that we have not arrived yet. We're going to continue to offer the things that might help them become as successful as we want to be too. So
Yeah, no, I mean, that book like just rewired my brain as far as I was very similar. Like, we've been growing double digits every year since we started, and it was just a matter of like, but how do you 10x versus like just trying to double every year? And so it just completely got me thinking differently versus like, hey, I need this next account or this next client or to sell X. It's just like, how do we rethink the entire business? How's it been, just the family aspect of what you do? Because when we came there to shoot your video and as we're kicking things off for your rebrand, it was just amazing to see how you interact. You work with your daughters and your family, and then their husbands and other people are coming in. But like, how's that dynamic?
that is such a gift. I don't think there's very many people who can say that their children want to take over the business and you get to work alongside, and we get along very well. But it is challenging. It's very challenging. You have to be their mom first and foremost, but then you have the business to run as well. And all three of them are younger, or were younger when we started. I mean, we're all growing, but which is a good thing. But just trying to navigate that, each of them, is another blessing, navigate towards a different area of the business, which is exactly what we need. But then making sure you keep an eye on all three of those areas to make sure they're growing and flourishing and getting what they need. It's a family business is very difficult. Yeah. But it's a blessing, so I'm not complaining one bit. It's a good thing. It's just a big challenge.
Yeah.
Separating the feelings from okay, this is the job and this has to be done by you
Yeah.
or my daughter or, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So do you feel like, because I have a view on this of like how I handle and work with my family, but do you feel like that pushes you to be more lenient or give more grace, or does that push you to be harder on them and expect more from them?
So I always respect more.
Versus the regular employee.
I expect more from them for
Yeah.
sure. However, we're very lenient as a whole company, so that helps play into that as well.
Mhm.
People see that I'm not just lenient with, when I am lenient with them,
Yeah.
we're lenient with everybody. And my daughters have really taken that. All three of them have taken that and carried that on through the whole company. So they'll say I am harder on them, but I'm also lenient because we're lenient with everybody that works
Yeah.
there, and so are
Okay.
they. So
Got
it's
it.
good, yeah.
Yeah, it was, I mean, just coming up there and seeing the operation, it was just, it feels like you're doing business differently, and you're doing business like you feel like that it's a family business, and just even down to like the daycare setup in the office. Like I had not seen that anywhere except for Lakeview, and it seems like you really care about the entire employee, like their whole life versus just like what they're producing for you.
No, absolutely. You know, we spend a good part of our day with people, and we
Yeah.
need to make sure that they are healthy when they leave, as much as we possibly can, healthy when they leave, so that they want to go home and have a good time with their families, not being so beat up at work.
Yeah.
You know, that it's just, it matters. It
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah,
matters.
definitely. And that's one thing that I think was great from uncovering in the branding session that we did, is just like how much you invest, and the investment, not just in technology, but in people and relationships. It really came out in that session. I was really happy that was the development, because you can see it and feel it when you come to Lakeview. It's just like you really care and you're invested in their success and their livelihood too.
Thank you. I'm glad that you can see it, because it needs to be visible for
Yeah.
people to see, because it matters.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. So what have been some of the challenges for you? I mean, obviously there's no shortage, and you know, on any given day it's whatever the challenge of the day is. But what would you say keeps you up at night right now, besides the tariffs?
Yeah. So navigating growth is very hard.
Mhm.
You have to balance everything while you're growing. Some of our customers are requiring a lot more out of us and wanting to be more hands-on with us, and that's been a challenge as well. Fortunately, we have a lot of young people wanting to get into the industry, and we get introduced to a lot of them, so making sure they're trained up properly, making sure the longtime employees feel heard and supported, so that transition as well has been
Yeah.
a challenge. Our offerings have been a challenge. We want to grow, but sometimes you realize that you're jumping in too fast to certain areas. You know, we jumped into certain things. And then when you have customers who all of a sudden cancel $1 million contract, and you're like, okay, now what? I don't like the word, but it's pivot. You got to do something else. So it's just your everyday operating challenges, making sure at the end of the day that we are making money and there's a profit. And
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do much without that.
No.
But how do you discern, you know, the things you lean into, the things you say no to, the pivots? Like, what do you have a framework, or just do you trust your gut? Is it data? Like, what do you use to make your decisions?
You
for
know,
those pivots?
the gut, that's a good thing. I do trust my gut. However, the bigger we get, the less hands-on I am to the little things. I can't trust my gut so much in certain areas, so I have to trust the people that are on my team.
Yeah.
We just make sure that their voices are heard, and that we get together as a group. So if a new project comes along, we get together, we tear it apart to see how we could succeed, how we could fail, and make sure we think it would be a successful thing, because we have jumped into new projects before and went, oh boy, we've had plenty of experience with failure, so that we know what it looks like in a lot of ways to be successful. So we get together as a team. It's not all what I say, it's what we say, collaboratively.
Yeah, that's great.
How we're going to approach.
Yeah, so collaboration, analysis, review.
Yep.
That's good, because like for me as a leader, I'm very much like, I would say that there's like the data-driven leader, and then there's like the instinct, gut-driven leader, and I'm like similar to you, but like trying to really focus on data and focus on what the analysis or the numbers or the recommendations say.
And there's sometimes we just take a leap and say, you know what, let's just try it. Let's just see what happens. And we did that today.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So where do you see the industry going, like the precision machining industry, like the evolution of it, and where it's headed in the next few years?
So you hear, automation, 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 which means we still need people. We need people to program these things and to put the projects together, but a lot of automation. I get concerned about I see a lot of things coming back to the United States, which is very, very good.
Yeah.
And I think manufacturing is strong, but we also have to keep our eye on what's going on outside in the world, because other people are seeing what's going on as well, and they're ramping up what they're doing too, and trying to compete overseas, not necessarily just China, but compete overseas is huge. So there's a balance there that we have to keep our eye on, with making sure the customers are aware. We know that you can get a product outside of this country, but let us be your support here, because we've all seen what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket, and then that goes away. So let us be a partial support of that system, and that's what a lot of people are going to, which I really appreciate, because we can't pull it all in here. That's just not going to work. So I also see technology. So like we belong to a couple of organizations where they're teaching more kids coming out of high school, just the technology, not necessarily. College is very important. I am not diminishing that whatsoever, but there's some people who don't. So that's another wave I see changing, is they're putting more into technical schools.
Right.
So what was your question again?
Just where you see the industry going. So you're saying automation, you're saying technology. So that's good. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's always been there. But do you see like AI?
AI for sure.
Being part of it now?
And I am not one that that could speak of that too well. We were just talking the other day. We went to a conference, and I actually got to sit back, and I didn't go to the conference for the first time. So all three of my girls did, and that's the biggest thing that took away was AI. So they can talk about AI, and they said they want to incorporate it better. They're actually using it more often. So you want to talk to them? Ask them about it, because I know it's there, and I know it's something that they're getting into.
It's good. I mean, I feel like every business, every company needs to get into it.
Yeah.
And I was at this trade show, or this conference at McCormick Place the past couple of days in material handling, and every conversation, whether the presentation was on AI or it's just like conversations you're just hearing, are just like everybody's talking about AI.
There's so much that I have no idea all that it touches. So I'm hoping that the people that we're bringing in will have a better idea than I do, because that's where they need to go for sure.
Definitely. But I fully agree with you. It's going to help us accelerate, but you still do need that overseer, human intervention or interaction to really drive it. What are some of your like proudest moments or some memorable moments from your career with Lakeview so far, or that stand out?
So when I was working for the Lemkes, being promoted to general manager was a big thing. That really was a very happy moment for me, because I had worked really hard, and they were very concerned about, as I got married and started having kids, they were concerned about my commitment and if I was going to be long term. And once they saw that, and I earned their trust and their respect by showing my trust and respect to them when I was given that title, that was really something big.
Yeah.
And then to work through what we had to work through to buy the business, that was probably the biggest, because there came to a point where when you get the lawyers involved, I didn't think we were going to come to an agreement. And we just both decided, let's just move on with this. So that was really,
Yeah, I can see those being like some major milestones for you in your career. But then post-acquisition, post you taking over, like what stands out to you as far as just like, man, I can't believe we did that, or got that done, or we're here?
Just looking at the numbers of machines that we have out on the floor, and all of us that trained, none of us had training. We learned everything that we knew at the company, within the company. I started out programming machines and operating the machines, and now I don't do that anymore. So we have the people who came in, they come in, we train them on the floor. My daughters being there, what a gift, a gift. To have them all say, we're going to go do other things, Mom, thank you for the offer, but we don't really see ourselves here, and then working part-time, and then saying, wait a minute, I miss this. It's something that I want to be a part of. So that really, Joel, I cannot tell you, as a mom and a business owner, what a blessing and a gift that is, and how proud I am of the work that they've done. And we've got other family members as well, just everybody there, their heart is there, and they like to be there, and they like to see others succeed.
It's amazing, and I think it's. I mean, I know you won't see it this way, but like you've got it. It's due to you. You know, like setting the culture and just being somebody that like people want to be around. Because I mean, I asked my kids, and none of them want to work here. So
mine didn't either. Mine said no way. So yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. They like the boss seat, but like I don't know if they're. I mean, they're also only 3, 6, and 9. So
right, give them some time. They'll get there.
So then the dynamic between your 3 daughters, like how is that? Like, are there clear lanes, or are they all like on equal, like I guess reporting structure? They all report to you. They all have their lanes, or are they trying to cross over and do other things?
They all have their lanes.
Okay.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
And who knows? So Emily navigates toward finance and HR.
Yeah.
Cassie, my middle one, she navigates toward the shop floor.
Okay.
So that's where she shines, and that's where she is best suited. And Kaylee came in, and Kaylee's just rocking the sales.
Yeah.
And who would have thought, really? But they're all really seem to be made that way and fit that way into the positions, which are the 3 most important positions there.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that's amazing. Like you have finance, you have operations, and you have sales and marketing.
Yeah.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
You can draw it up any better.
No.
But, so speaking of you know your journey and with your daughters, like obviously it's a male dominated industry, but how have you navigated that?
They're honestly, when you show people that you're interested, not because you're female, just because you're interested because of the business, they take you seriously.
Yeah.
There was a time, and it probably still is time, that people do not take women seriously, but that's okay. That's on them, not us. And it doesn't hold us back. I remember when Cassie was working for us when she was in shipping and receiving and driving the van, and people made fun of her when she would go. I can remember specifically one place, and she would come back and so hurt because someone said, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be in the office.
Wow.
But it helped her to want to persevere even more. So that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You should kind of like take that as a chip on your shoulder and just go show that you know what you're doing and go perform.
We all have the opportunity. You know, you're given an opportunity. It's what you do with it.
Right, totally. And to piggyback on that, excuse me. Okay, sorry if that was in your ear. So to piggyback on that, like, you know, you and I obviously got connected through like a faith-based organization. So how has your faith like woven into the Lakeview story?
I am where I am only because of God today. I am who I am because of Him alone, and I can work through my day and do the best that I can today, but He's got my tomorrow, and that's all I know, and I don't have to worry about it. Does that mean I don't have to plan? Absolutely not. We have to plan. We have to know where we're going, and just trust that He will lead us and guide us. So it's everything that I am and I do, and I just pray every day that the people on the floor that see me, well, first, that I see them as God sees them, because that's really hard. Yeah. That's really hard. You know, we're all difficult people. Myself, I'm number one. But I make sure I remember that they are made in the image of God, and then that they would see Jesus in me. That's my goal.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. So, you know, I think you answered it to a degree, but how would you summarize your culture? Like, if you had to put your culture into words, like what would be the words you'd use?
Gosh, that's really good. A serious environment of wanting to do the best for each other, for the good of people. I mean, everybody has the same, and we all have bad days. But in the at the end of the day, no matter what kind of bad day, we all look to the good of others, so that we can face people.
Yeah. What I love about that is, nowhere in there is like machining parts or precision machining. It's just bigger. It's a lot bigger than that.
Absolutely.
And taking care of people. And so what I always like to end on with this is, 100 years from now, what do you want people to remember about Debbie Sommers?
That she loved Jesus, and it showed in everything that she did.
Wow. That's great.
So I'm praying, we get together and we pray over the team. We're going to get a Bible study here started soon, so that we can live what we know and help other people to live what we know. But really, I want people to know that we are here because the Lord put us here and he has us here. And
Right.
we will get to where we need to be
Mhm.
by his grace and mercy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's great. So for people looking for Lakeview or wanting to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can find us on, I don't say this all right because they can find us on the internet at lakeviewprecision.com.
Yeah.
We're connected on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Where else? Joel, I don't know.
I know, because we built it. So,
Yeah.
lakeview.precision.com. And
Yeah.
you're obviously on LinkedIn as well. And brand spanking new website and brand and
Yeah,
all
it
that.
looks
How's
good,
that?
thank you.
How's been response on that?
It's going good.
Yeah.
People are finding us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
they are really, it's working really, really well. Recently we had it, and we got an order out of it too, a couple of them. So you
Great.
guys are doing fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure we use that somewhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. Debbie, thank you so much. It was just great to spend some time with you and reconnect here and hear more about your story.
Hey, Joel, I got to say one thing.
Yeah.
The last person that we just got an order from actually said, you're the first name that comes up when I Google precision machining. So
Oh,
like,
that's
all right,
awesome.
I got to
I'm very
tell
happy to hear that.
you guys are doing a great
Yeah.
job.
Oh, thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, thanks for coming down, and it was great to hear your story.
Thanks, Joel.